Hey there, well, welcome to The Torch. My name is Kevin, and our host is Miss Pat Sundstrom. Miss Pat, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Are you glad to be here at your season final today?
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to next season.
I know, it's like, do we really need to have a break? But I think it's always good to take just a little breather and then come back with some fresh things. So today on The Torch, it is the season final, but we already kind of started talking, and it's like, well, we just need to go ahead and go live. So, what's on your heart? What did you just
well,
want to
let's
jump
just
into?
talk a little bit about what we were talking about.
Yeah,
We were talking about we've got the
primary.
no, it's not the primary.
Oh,
It's the primary runoff.
The runoff. Yeah, we already did the primary, the runoff election.
Yeah, we already did the primary, and we've got the runoff coming up. As a matter of fact, early voting starts Monday.
Monday, and then the following Tuesday is the actual runoff election. The 22nd or something?
No, early voting runs from May 18th to May 22nd.
Oh, May 22nd. Okay.
And the election day is May 26th.
Oh, okay. You have it right here.
Yeah, I've got it right there in front of you.
You know what? If I would just look at it. So, well, what about What about this runoff election? What are some, as a citizen, you're keeping your eyes open and doing research and checking out the candidates. And there's a couple of candidates that are running in the runoff election, and you're checking everybody out.
I'm checking everybody out, especially since I'm getting my mailbox full of these flyers and my texts full of this stuff, and I'm sitting here saying, no.
Can I give you a thought here? I have deleted and unsubscribed, and I've even started reporting some of these as spam. Unfortunately, I want it crossed my mind, because I was getting a little bit, just a tiny bit hostile with that many coming in. I'm thinking, it's like, I wonder if the Democratic Party has posed as some Republican organization to flood and slam the Republican citizens, to make them upset with their own party because of that many texts and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just, I open my mailbox in front of the house, and I look in there, and I just take it out and fold it up and throw it in the trash, because I know what it is. Because they usually make me mad, because they're really coming up and telling half-truths about their opponent.
And that's what we kind of started when you first got here. We were kind of like looking over the show's material.
One of them in particular, because it was a race that I was looking at and wondering how to vote on.
Yeah.
I think I've decided now.
I think I've had decided already too.
But what it amounted to was, one opponent was really, he was, how do I want to say this?
Dogging somebody?
Yeah. He was not speaking truthfully. He was taking things, there we go. He was taking things out of context that his opponent had said or did or something like that. And I read it, and I thought, now wait a minute. There's got to be a way that I can find out if this is true.
Right.
So here I go again, digging in, and I found out that what he was doing was taking part of the statement that the man had made, his opponent had made.
Right.
He was taking it out of context, like people do with so many things, including the Bible.
So, like in these groups, these couple that are in the runoff, they're on the same team.
Yeah, this is a runoff. They didn't. One of them didn't get enough votes to be on the ballot in November.
But they're supposed to be on the same team.
But they're supposed to be on the same team. But of course, they're opponents right now because
It's a runoff election.
it's a runoff election.
But it'd be like, anything else. If you got a team full of baseball players or something like that, and a couple of them want to be pitcher, and they get up there and it's like, well, I think I could do a better job at pitching than you. We want to win as a team, but I want to be the one that is in this position because I think I can help us win the game, right? I mean, how much mudslinging do you have to do because you're going to have to play with that person?
Yeah, at some point you're going to have to play with that person, and
you don't like that. I mean, you don't like the mudslinging,
No, I don't like that. I think if you can't win it on your own merit, you don't need to destroy the other person's reputation with half-truths. If you're going to go after them, then go after them with truth.
With actual,
Yeah.
not like the spin. The spin on it. It's like, I can throw the ball, like going back to the analogy about I want to be a pitcher. No, I want to be the pitcher. Well, you tried pitching the last 5 games, and you didn't strike anybody out. I pitched the last 5 at the 10 games before that, and I got 9 strikeouts. Don't you think I would be a better? It's like there's the truths and the facts, right?
Speak the fact. Don't take half-truths.
Yeah.
Don't misconstrue what somebody else, what your opponent has said.
So you and I, we went down to the local luncheon and got to meet some people, and it was good. It was good, and meeting some people doesn't always tell you the whole story, does it?
No, because I've had second thoughts about who I would like to see in that particular, in any position, and I've decided that one of them has a lot more experience than the other.
And this is a pretty technical field, because we were talking a little bit about, President Trump, when he was asked to run for office, he had no political experience, but he was not somebody who was just Joe Blow, homeless person on the street that hadn't done anything with nothing and hadn't created nothing. And President Trump, at least he already had a lifetime of building gigantic organizations and making decisions, and thousands of people that work for him, having to make payroll. I mean, that's a big deal when you have to make payroll for thousands and thousands of people. So he already had a lot of business experience and negotiating experience. So
years ago,
you have a water there too.
I don't know, I was just kind of watching a lot of different people, and I told my husband one day, I said, this guy Trump, he'd make a good president.
Oh, really?
And come to find out, he became our president.
That must have been, that was back 20 years ago kind of thing, or? Yeah.
It was quite a while ago. But it was, then up he popped running for president, and I thought, well, that's interesting.
And he didn't really want to do this, but I think that he was almost forced into this arena because it needed a special kind of person, and the Lord picked him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line is if the Lord picks you, you can run from it like Jonah did, but in the end, guess what Jonah did?
He did what he was told to do.
Right, so, somebody might run from it, and he was not a perfect man because he wanted to see Nineveh completely destroyed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like he's a prophet of God, supposed to be loving and kind and merciful and all those kind of things, but he didn't want to go to Nineveh because he knew that God would probably going to have mercy on the people, and he probably had heard about what all the stuff that they were doing in Nineveh, and it made him probably mad and grossed out, and so he didn't want them to be saved. And so, after he proclaimed what the Lord was going to do to Nineveh, everybody repented from the highest to the lowest, and Jonah went up on the hillside and watched to see if God was going to destroy the land. And of course, the whole thing there, just to wrap that part up, is Why are you so mad, Jonah? Do you have a right to be mad? And I'm so mad enough to die. That's what Jonah said. And it's like, well, you neither planted, because he was mad about the gourd plant that grew up over him for shade and all that. It's like, you neither planted that nor tended that. And Nineveh has over 100,000 people in here that are too young to know what their right hand is to the left hand. It's like, why would you be mad for me trying to have mercy on them?
Yeah.
Of course.
What it all boils down to is be careful who you vote for.
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of people, it's like, well, how do we know? Well, because you keep your ears open, your eyes open, and it is okay if you change your mind.
Oh, sure.
Because I've changed my mind.
Don't back down from checking these people out.
Right.
I mean, I found out a lot by just going in and doing some checking. It's kind of like I found out something else this week.
Is it? Can you share without naming names?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna name one name. I can't really do that one name.
Okay.
During the previous administration, and this is coming down because of all the documents that are being released now. The statement was something to the effect that the weaponization of the federal government was being done by the Biden DOJ, Department of Justice, against the people of this country. They had surveillance going against a lot of people who were pro-life.
Yeah.
They had all sorts of other stuff going on. And there was even 8 senators they were
spying
on.
Is that highly illegal, you would
think?
think?
It's highly illegal. It's right there in the Constitution that you can't spy on somebody like that and do that without due course of law. And they were monitoring their phone calls and their texts and all sorts of stuff. And so, so I sat down and I wanted to know more about it. So I came up with 3 websites that shows you a lot of the stuff that's going on, and you can go in and read about it and learn about it and decide whether you want to vote for people like this or vote for somebody who's more conservative. And but you can go to www.justice.gov. You can go to judiciary.house.gov, and you can go to judiciary.senate.gov. It's, the information is there. If you want more information on people who are running in this runoff, go to iVoterGuide.com.
And they might get tired of hearing that, but it's if you are one of the people that say, there's just no way we can do as much research as necessary. Well, there are organizations that have done a lot for you. They're not perfect, none of them are, but they have been able to wade through a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when you go in there, you put in your you put in your address, and you want to go and look at your voter guide.
Yep.
And it's going to show the people who are going to be on your ballot. Well, on there, on each person, there's this little gauge.
Yeah.
And on the left side of the little gauge, as you're looking at it, is really liberal, extremely liberal.
Yeah.
On the right side of the gauge is extreme conservative. Excuse me. So I was looking at it, and in one of the, I don't remember which one it was, but in one of them, I thought, oh, well, this over here, this guy is kind of in the middle, like he's on the fence. But this guy over here is really conservative. I'm going to take that one, which was the one I was leaning for anyway.
Yeah. So, because of the way these organizations who were called to do their work too, just like, we're called to do church work and you're called to do torch work, and We all have our part to play in all of this, but this organization, iVoters, they're very gifted with this, and so one of the people that we were thinking about voting is kind of more up.
Well, I don't think I was really thinking about voting him, but he's like on the fence
About a lot of things, yeah.
about a lot of things.
I'm sorry.
You run into a problem whenever they're both conservative.
Yeah.
That's when you dig deeper. You can go in deeper to iVoter Guide, and you can find out who they donate to, who's donating to them. You can find out more about them. But if they filled out the questionnaire, there's a bunch of questions they're asked. If they filled out the questionnaire, they'll have as much information that they can get in there for you, so to help you decide which one of those people to choose.
Be an informed voter.
Yeah.
You don't want to be an ignorant voter.
Yeah.
The uninformed voter is a very dangerous person, because they have an opportunity to change the course of a whole lot of stuff in ignorance.
It's really important that you know who these people are and what they stand for, because if they don't stand for what you want, why would you want to put them into office?
Well, that's the thing. It's like why like thinking about some of the platforms. I know there's the Independent Party, the Libertarian Party, all these, but really in our country it's Republican and those two are the main parties, and they have a list of their what do you call it, their creed or their
platform.
Their platform. This is what we believe about these issues as a party. And in order to be in this party, the person who is coming to this party must subscribe to these sets of beliefs and sets of parameters. And so when you look at this over here and it's like, well, I like this about faith, I like this about family, I like this about country, I like this about limited government. And then I look over here and I see on this where the people that are in here in this party had to subscribe and agree to this set of terms and set of beliefs about killing babies, and you marry your fence post if you want to. You can, just on down the list of the most craziest nonsense. The government should run everything. The children belong to the state. And just on and on and on. And like, is that what you believe? And if you do, well, I would be surprised you're even watching this then at this point. But what do you find and believe that? Because the policies are going to be made by the party that's in power.
Yes, and the party that's in power
are supposed to.
Yeah, and these platforms that he's talking about, you can get off of iVoterGuide.com too. I wanted to say that. But do you want people in office who are for what you believe in or what you expect of your government, or do you want people in office who aren't?
Right.
It's that simple. There's no gray area there. You either, it's one side or the other. And I don't really like to say this, but it's true. A vote for an independent or a Green Party person is just taking the vote away from one of the others. And that vote may be the one that helps.
Right. So unfortunately, that is just the way it is. Some of the other minor parties are not big enough. They don't have the organizational structure to become a major contender at this point in American history. Maybe one day, but I personally, one day, Jesus, the Lord, will be king over all the earth, and then we won't have to worry about elections
and it's all
anymore.
A point.
Yeah, But until then, we're supposed to occupy until he returns. We're
Well-
supposed to stand in the gap, right?
Right? And he put us here to be stewards of this earth.
Yeah.
And just because, all right, people believe that we're in the end times.
Yeah.
But a lot of things, according to the Bible, have to happen before
Yeah.
Jesus comes back, and they aren't here. They aren't there yet.
Except for the rapture. The rapture. That's
Yeah,
that's-
except for that. But what it amounts to, my point is,
I'm trying to get her.
hush. he doesn't really want to make me mad.
No, I don't. That's why I've had this little thing right here in the middle, is to keep us two apart, so there can't be no eye scratching and stuff. So anyway, your point. I'm sorry.
Now I forgot my point was.
I know. I got her. It was success. About the end. And we were talking about Jesus' return.
Right, and just because we're headed in that direction doesn't mean we have to stop. That's not what he wants.
No.
He wants us to continue to
Yes.
our stewardship of what's going on, putting the right people into office, and maintaining
Yeah.
status quo here.
Well, right. No, but nowhere in the scriptures does the Lord tell us to quit or to stop. Matter of fact, He tells us in Hebrews that what you need now is perseverance. That perseverance is keeping on, even despite some difficulties. We're to keep on keeping on, and the government of God is superimposed over the affairs of man. He is allowing there to be some mankind being able to rule in a sense over their affairs, as long as those rulings are in line with the God of nature and nature's God. When we start making laws that go against His biblical standards, well, then you start crossing the line, because we're supposed to do on earth what is done in heaven. Yeah. And so the rules and laws and stuff like that, are policies that we're living in, should be closely aligned to the kingdom of God, I would think.
God created this nation. I mean, I don't know that there's anything in the Bible, any of the prophecies, that even relate back to this nation, the United States of America. And I haven't seen anything. Maybe you have, but what it all amounts to is we're coming up on 250 years
of a single solitary constitution.
Right. July the 4th, 1776, 57 men representing the 13 colonies sent the Declaration of Independence to King George III, who was a tyrant. In 1775, he had already sent soldiers into this nation. And these men sat down after a year of putting up with these so-called elite people running their business and taking over, and they sent him this declaration that put them on his do away with list.
Do away with mean like unalive them?
Right.
Because you have to be real careful what you say on YouTube, because they flag us if we say you could use that word.
Yeah.
They will unalive you.
They will unalive you. Well, they would.
Right. But it's so crazy that you have to use that, and you can't really say what you want to say. Yeah.
Case in point, I got a email from Debbie Worth now talking about the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
She's with iVoterGuide. And she was talking about Francis and Elizabeth Lewis. Mm-hmm. It seems that the king had vengeance on his mind against those 57 men.
Oh.
And the soldiers were told to destroy this guy's estate. Everything. He had a rather large estate, and they were told to to destroy it, and they did. They came in and a cannonball rolled across in front of her, in front of his wife. And they arrested his wife and put her in jail. She had no bed to sleep on. She had no change of clothes, and she had very little to eat. I don't know how long she was there, but it seems that the Continental Army, our guys, arrested two wives of two British officials.
Oh.
And General George Washington said, either you release her or these people will get the same treatment that she's been getting. She was quickly released. Not in time to help her health, because her health was in bad shape. But my point is, that's what was going on. That's the kind of suffering that these men and women went through, these families.
So when the 56 signers, they pledged their lives and fortune as they signed their name. I remember hearing that in one of the constitutional classes or whatever, and didn't just about all of them lose pretty well everything to, and so it's not something we're supposed to take lightly.
No, our freedoms are being questioned. Is that a good word? Questioned now. I mean, ours are.
Yeah.
And when I look at this and I think back to, and I read about what happened back in 1770, the war lasted from 1775 to 1783. That's 8 years.
Right.
And can you imagine what was left after all the fighting that was going on?
Right, and they're giving El Presidente Trump a hard time for 42 days in Iran, a very powerful, and this went on for 8 years against the British, and all of this, and they were again the treatment of other human beings by this monarchy, and then it's amazing how, thinking about how this other side treats their criminals, treats their prisoners, reminds me of what they did over in the D.C. Gulag, of all the people that were at the Capitol in January of 21, the insurrection group of people.
Yeah.
They put American citizens in these horrible conditions. There was many people in there that committed suicide, that unlived themselves in there. And they didn't get a lot of them didn't have their day in court. They didn't get their trial. A judge said, this is what you're accused of, and it was awful what they did to some of those people. And to find out as time goes on that our own government was involved in some of this, and everybody knows this stuff is coming out.
That goes back to what I said a while ago about the weaponization of the federal government.
And they have the gall to proclaim that Kash Patel and Galbert, the National Intelligence, NC Director of National Intelligence, the military lady, Gabbert.
Yeah.
She's like some kind of big hotshot that's helping to release a lot of this. That President Trump's administration is using the government as a weapon, and from the very people that use the government as a weapon.
Yes, and it's coming out more and more with these documents and stuff that are being released, and there's some big investigations going on in all of it.
Like there's so many people wonder why hasn't anything been done about it. Peeling an onion takes a little time, and it just, I think one layer just leads you to an even worse layer underneath that. And to think that these people that stole our money to pay themselves to destroy us, basically, is almost unheard of. And you know what? I think the people are more and more getting to the point where whatever needs to be done has to be done, because it can never happen again.
That's right, and And I did a little bit of research further into what the church at that time,
1776 church.
1776 church was had going on. And it seems that the ministers were in full force behind the war. I mean, they called it, I wrote it down, a righteous cause.
Yeah.
And these men were described as propagandists. They were described as influential leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They stood behind the pulpit, and their sermons were not very kind.
Yeah.
They spoke their mind, and they spoke to their congregations in terms that you need to do. So that being said, what are our churches doing now?
I don't, and that's a good question, but going back to that, do you remember hearing when every 4th of July we usually do like a David Barton kind of video presentation? Do you remember at all when he was saying that before the Declaration of Independence, like several years leading up to that, many churches were preaching what was in the Declaration? The grievances and all of these things were coming out of the pulpits, and the people, there was a mass of informing the public, kind of like waking the American people up over the last 4 or 5 years. The American population they did not know how bad it was under the layers. And so, coming from the prophetic office, over those years, the Lord had given me and a lot of the other prophets specialized words, specialized I liken some of the prophetic to being the true news reporter from heaven and not from earth, getting the news report straight from heaven about what He's doing behind the scenes and what's going on, and what God is going to do despite what has been in the media. And of course, I wrote a book, The Last Four, goes through all of that information about, and we see a lot of that is coming to pass. And some of the stuff that was going on was the awakening of the people, the getting people to pay attention, to look around you, to do some research and see what's happening. And so the population is much more awake than they were before. Everybody's got I feel like has a handle on some of the political. But back to the churches again, one of the very last prophetic messages in that series was talking about, don't just revel in your win, talking about getting the nation back again, with the new commander-in-chief and stuff. But it's not a time to go lay down. We have to keep on going. And so, and there are a lot of ministries out there who are being bolder in the pulpit now. But a lot of us were in the trenches when it was not popular. We lost people over that, especially when we were in our previous building. We had people that we know couldn't handle us talking about all this stuff, and they left. And of course it was very feeling hurting, but it is what it is. We're going to do what we're supposed to do, regardless of whether somebody stays or goes or whatever. But that, but hopefully other ministries, especially now, you have an not an audience, you have a family of people that you need to make sure they know what's happening. It's not just, you need to know what the disciples were doing. You need to know the scriptures. You need to know all of these things. You need to make sure you have a handle on the Word of God. But you also living in reality on earth right now. And so what's happening in your world right now, one day Jesus will rule and reign. But until that time happens, policies matter, and the churches have a big part to play. It's a very long answer to get back to what are the churches doing. The churches need to be involved
they
in
need
this.
to be involved in this. They need to stand for truth. They need prayer, a lot of prayer. And I don't mean just the same rhetoric that you pray every day because you remember it.
Yeah.
They need to really get down. And I was in my prayer time this morning, I was sitting there and I was doing a plan about the Holy Spirit. And it said, get you a timer and set that timer for 5 minutes. And then just sit there.
Yep.
Clear your mind and just sit there and see what happens. So I said, all right. And I think they're barking at the UPS guy.
Okay, because they are going crazy out there.
I see a truck. So I sat there for 5 minutes, and as I sat there, I felt my whole body just relaxing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get any messages or anything. I just had total peace.
Yep.
Total comfort. And the alarm went off, and I said, I should have set that for 10 minutes.
Yeah, some of my foundational words from the Lord came when He made me be quiet a minute, sit still, and don't say anything. Don't let your mind wander around.
Yeah, and that was the hard part, keeping my mind.
I know, because there's so many things.
I mean, my mind just...
There's so many things that pop in our mind. We don't even realize until you are made to sit still and keep your mind on one thing, that how much activity is coming into your mind just on a constant thing. We are actually at our 5-minute warning already.
Oh boy.
So,
well, I've got about 3 scriptures here. Let's close with those.
So, yes, let's do that. What about this Sunday real quick? Do we want to hit that about this Sunday as a kind of a historic event this coming Sunday, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to share?
You go ahead and share because I haven't dug deep enough in that to do it myself.
Okay. So we as a church ministry and a network, we're not even broadcasting anything to anybody. We want the congregation and the people that we do influence to go and to tune in to what is going on in Washington, D.C. on Sunday, May 17th. It's an affair that's going to be going I think it's 10:30 all the way till 6. I think President Trump's going to be speaking about 11:30. That's our time, Central Time, and it is a historical event, and it's a rededication celebration, a rededication of America back to God in a very official capacity, and so we want the people to be involved and even though we couldn't get to Washington, D.C., we want the people to be able to tune in and see what that's all about and to be able to listen to some of the people and to catch some of these things as a citizen. You know, this nation was a nation founded on biblical principles, and no matter who says what about that, the people like David Barton have the largest source document, original intent letters of anybody in the world of what the founding fathers and what it was like, because they did a lot of writing. They didn't have computers. They did letter writing and all this kind of stuff. We are a Christian nation, and it was founded on biblical values. And so and the Lord has blessed us because of that too as well. And so anyway, that's what's this coming Sunday at the 17th. So anyway,
Silence.
Well, I see these mirrors, and I see people coming to the door and coming over here, and it's very busy. And then I see the clock right there saying, "You got to leave the house." So anyway, yes, can we do the scriptures and then?
Sure.
Okay.
We've talked about a lot of things today, and over the past 5 weeks, we've talked about a lot of things, and I hope somebody gleaned something from it.
Yeah.
But I was looking at some of these scriptures today, and I thought, okay, it's just kind of a reminder more than anything. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. And that's in Proverbs 13:20. And in Romans 12:2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And that one made me think of people who are fearful of speaking out. They don't want to get involved. Mm-hmm. But you are involved.
You are involved.
There's no getting around it.
Yep. And I think that's a way we can leave it until the next in several weeks we'll be launching the summertime version of season. But we are involved. Our country and our system of government, the citizenry, is involved. Whether you exercise that involvement or not, that's a different story. So anyway, well, it's been a great season, Miss Pat.
Sure has.
You ready to pray?
Go ahead and pray us out.
Okay. Father, thank you so much in Jesus' name, dear God, for your loving kindness and your mercy and your grace. Thank you for rescuing this nation again. Lord, thank you for putting it on as a message. That's one of those special messages during this last 4 years, that you are raising her up again. You have chosen not to let America fall at this time in human history, and you have planned to make her greater than she was before, yet for another season. That she will be a city on a hill again, and that's what's happening right now. Thank you for allowing us, the people that we have chosen to represent us, to choose to do things on earth as done in heaven, and rededicate this nation back to you again. And let the citizenry rather gather around that, because this country is not going to be great without you. We're not great without you. So help us to make sure we understand that and do on earth what is done in heaven. We love you, Lord, and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.